Thank you very much, Rachel. And well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Finland, dominant team yesterday, up against the Aussie boys. And no more better to cast this one and an Aussie to maybe go through some pains. I don't know how this one's going to work out. I'm not holding much hope.
I don't understand. If there's anyone who's going to be biased about their country here, it's probably going to be me. I don't know why, but of course, yeah, the Aussie team coming in here. Some promising scrim results, to be honest with you. A lot of things they have to work through. 4 players on this team are actually from the same team back in Australia, Tempo Storm, the Australian Tempo Storm. But even then, even those 4 are having some interpersonal issues or interesting scenarios there, as well as some players want to scrim all day long. And hey, Katie, very chilled. He wants to put his feet up and, you know, just chill. So
enjoy the trip.
Yeah, just try and, you know, maybe a mix of those would have been good. We have to see what's been going on in the Aussie engine room over the last few days, though.
Well, we're going to be starting off, of course, with Temple of Anubis. Moving on to Eichenwald, and if we need it, it will be a Vijay Tower decider, and of course, if there's a draw after all of that, I believe it falls up to Nepal.
It will be, yep. Yeah. Nepal will be the
tiebreaker.
Probably not. I don't think so. Especially in this sort of situation, Eichenwald and Vijay Tower will probably give us clear results, I think. I mean, this map might give us a draw. It is unlikely, though, that's going to happen here. Temple of Anubis, speaking to the Aussies, they have sort of said that this map pool doesn't benefit them in a big way. They prefer to play control maps as much as possible, but Assault they're not super confident on. They say they feel that there's a lot of strategic depth required on this map, which has been hard for them to put together over the last few days. But again, this is a strong team. A couple of these players have sort of been overseas before, flying from all the way from Australia to the UK to compete in esports tournaments there as well. Keep your eyes out for Yuki and of course Termo as well, who usually just plays the tank. Very, very focused player, very, very humble, down-to-earth kind of guy as well, as much of the Aussies are as well. So they don't mind going down fighting here if that's going to be the case, but they'll definitely give them hell, Lee.
Well, they're going to have to, because they're up against Finland, who are very good at this game. They've certainly got a lot of pride in their camp as well. We're seeing Taimu actually on Widowmaker. It's something he rocked yesterday against Chinese Taipei, and Finland failed to complete the map yesterday against Chinese Taipei. So we'll see whether he sticks with it. I'm pretty sure Lynx is not going to be sticking with Symmetra, that's for sure. But Taimu may well stay on this. It's something that worked out very well. Remember, he got that Anna snipe straight away out of the gates. And Kura needs to keep his head down at the start of this round.
Yeah, I mean, not just Kura. There's a few people on that roster who'd be a little bit vulnerable to that stuff. I think defensive Genji from Yuki is incredibly interesting here. He probably wants to try and stay out of sight or out of sight lines as much as he can. You can threaten a Widowmaker on this Genji. That's probably the most important thing here. Yuki has a very deep pool of DPS heroes. He needs to make sure that Taimu cannot set up and start rattling shot after shot. The classic boost from Taimu there as well finds very little to start.
Something we didn't actually mention is they're going with the exact same defense Finland used against Chinese Taipei. The 4 tank to its double support. I tell you what, Yuki's on Genji. I don't know what I'm on about. I'm talking absolute rubbish. And there's the shot that we were looking for. Taimu takes down Termo. Yuki already been hooked out of the sky, and that's looking like Finland are just going to take point A in pretty much record time. I don't know, that wasn't really defended, was it?
I think the only time it was even faster was maybe Korea against South Australia or South Korea against South Australia in that situation. But look, Taimu didn't really have to do a heck of a lot there, just went up for the peak, and you saw that Australia straight away moved to the left side on that point. That was easy for Finland. They moved forward. Himsy got the hook on towards Yuki very early as well. That hurts. It's very hard for Australia to erect any sort of defense when their Genji is not available.
He's actually switching. Okay, so he's stuck on it for a while. A little too long, maybe, against Chinese Taipei. Maybe learn from that one time. He's switching across the Reaper and already pushing for that point. Now, remember, of course, it was such an easy, quick, successful take on that point. They haven't got ultis charged up yet, but this is a good chance for them. Lynx are getting picked off. That's a nice pick off for HeyKD there. And Finland forced to back away. They're forced to respect Australia. They can't push, and they can't get the quick flip.
Himsy working on towards the left side here. Taimu thinks he's the best Roadhog in the world, D-Man. And to be fair, so far, we've seen incredible stuff from him at this tournament. It's great to see a player of his caliber able to showcase his hero of choice in this lineup for Finland. But the hook does come in. The kill doesn't follow, though. Still, Finland have got plenty to work with now. It's an Earth Shatter for Linkser. Himsy's not going to be too far away from the whole hog either. And now to the Earth Shatter coming down. Now Australia just eat that one up. There was no one to block it at all. Not ideal. Refs must have been looking elsewhere. Had his shield down. Yuki manages to get one back, but this is carnage. Finland cut through Australia. It's like a hot knife through butter. And none of the Aussies are going to be around. They've all been sent down under.
Yeah, that's just exactly how you take the point. It's going to get contested just at the end, not even close. And Taimu takes him down. 6 minutes, 8 seconds, Mitch, from Australia. How do you feel about your boys going down to the Finns in inside of what, 3 minutes?
Basically in these situations, I try and not think Australia versus Finland. I try and think against team versus team. Otherwise, I'd be in a ball rolling around at the moment. But hey, look, this is the way it goes, right? Finland got some important picks on the attacking side there. Himsy, the Roadhog, you must respect this guy. He's a virtuoso in that role, and he gets the hook on towards Yuki. Now, I think defensive Genji can work, but it's super risky, right? Why not go for something a little bit different? You can even try Junkrat if you're feeling that confident, but Australia made a very pronounced reaction to seeing the Widowmaker from Taimu. They all went towards the left side. We saw them. Taimu had no one to shoot at. That's fine, but Australia put themselves in a bunch, and that's Finland just going to walk in there. They didn't have a comp that was supposed to dive on the Aussies. They had a comp that was supposed to pick a couple off, give them a man advantage. They had a 2-man advantage, and then once Linkser and I guess Mafu and Co were already hitting towards the back line, there's no one there to protect the rest of the Australian lineup. So tough times for them, and Australia wants to reciprocate that. They want to go for early picks here. We'll have to see if that's going to be a possibility with the team comp they go for. Hey, Katie is a hit scan player, maybe even Widowmaker from him, but no, Roadhog yet again. So it's the same comp that Australia actually used on the defensive side here. So maybe a formula they just feel comfortable with. Again, much like Finland, this will rest on Hey Katie getting an opening pick here, and Yuki able to stay alive long enough to distract and gain attention for himself.
Okay, the point I failed to make in the initial attack was Finland did go with a 4-tank defense, which they are doing once again. They get that double support in there. It's exactly the same as they tried to run against Chinese Taipei, and as you may have seen yesterday, it didn't quite work out as planned, but it is a solid meat shield in the front there. There's plenty of defense, plenty of damage as well. Of course, talking about Himsy, getting those hooks in there, it's not only him they need to rely on. Of course, Taimu is going to be going aggressive on the Winston. Rolly doesn't get to play too often with Internet Hulk in his actual pro team, but as it is, it's a role that can work very well, and we just saw that from Miro a moment ago.
Himsy currently 80% hook accuracy so far. He's been very good at picking players out of the mix. That's quite a striking figure, I feel.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Hey Katie misses his though. There's going to be a shield in the way. That's Linkser protecting his team, and Taimi's already gone in. He finds Muzel already taken out of the mix, and now all the hook comes in. Hey Katie going to get taken down. It was Mafu helping Himsy follow up there. Linkser on towards Yuki will mean that Australia have run out of gas here. It's just Turmo to find Saini. And well, the rest of Finland are going to be quite easily able to just sit back and recover.
Yeah, easy stuff. Easy start, 1 minute gone, and counting. Still plenty of time for Australia. Don't need to panic. Don't need to worry at the moment. They're going to make any changes. You're going to see a Reaper coming out from HKD. He's going to try and push it around there. Now, Kura does have himself the ulti ready and waiting. Is he going to nano boost anybody? He's going to look towards him, tries to toss out the bio grenade. Doesn't actually get him down there. Not a great deal of damage coming out. Linkser Dojo comes in, swings for the fences. Yuki does get himself one. That's Zappis going down, so suddenly they got a chance. Okay, we're a bit even. Now, bear in mind the defensive side, they got a bit of a wrong spawn back, so if Australia can get back out the spawn gates quick enough and try and push the pressure while there's still only 3 on the base.
Problem there is that Yuki, it was Kura wanted to use the nano boost on Refs, the Reinhardt, right? He got charged in, and then Turmo received the nano boost for whatever reason. That's probably not the highest value use of that ultimate. Now Ref switches towards Winston. Now we're going to see a bit more of a dive comp from Australia. They're going to have to get in and brawling, but Finland are already rolling with these ults lead. There's not much Australia can do up against all of these massive game-changing abilities.
Yeah, just a little too slow coming out. You could see the rest of Finland coming back out, coming through the spawn, getting around the arch, and, well, Mafu with the Graviton Surge stopped Australia in their tracks, and sadly it wasn't speed for them. Taimu just taking a nap on the archway there, just checking himself out. Okay, Yuki's got Dragon Blade. There is a Graviton Surge for Turmo. So there's a chance here for Australia to bet something together. They've got just inside of 2 minutes to build this one up. With Saini, though, with that sound barrier, and Himsy with the whole hog. Here we go. Yuki, Dragon Blade pulls out, doesn't manage to get his first target, and that just backfires on him completely.
There was a sound barrier in the fight as well. Now it's going to be a desperate death blossom coming out from Hey Katie. Gets himself 2-3 kills there. That's going to be important, but now the fight needs to be followed up. Himsy eventually going to get the last whole hits on in, but Turmo finds him now. It's going to be Kura on the point, desperately keeping Turmo alive, and this is a good situation for Australia. Linkser forced to back away, but now Rex is going to come. Turmo's brought some friends, and they're ready to brawl. Australia sits on the point. It's taken them a long time, but after that fight and after Hey Katie going in so deep with that Death Blossom, look at this guy here as well. Did he get a shield from Azalea? No. He managed to use the Graviton to its fullest. Got the sound barrier as well. Nicely done.
I think Saini actually tried to boop him away. You saw him suddenly take that quick divert, and then actually pushed him in and got the double kill off it.
That happens more often than you think.
Yeah, it's sometimes, I mean, you think you're trying to be helpful, and suddenly it doesn't work out for you. But either way, Can they flip it on its head here? Finland on the defensive now on the B side. So just 5 minutes to play with for Australia, of course. Nowhere near the time that Finland had, but if they can cap it out and get themselves into the second chance, they may well go for it. Here we go. Taimu goes around the back, though, quickly takes down Katie. He gets dealt with, and this is going to be Australia's attack stumbling already, unfortunately. The Primal Rage Winston is already finished with. Refs is going to back away. He's going to get out of there alive, but I don't think the Lucio will. Musok's going to get dropped.
Music will fall here, and unfortunately we did see the Primal Rage come out there from refs to very little avail, but Taimu, he had himself an nano boost there as well. Note that he didn't even have to use the Death Blossom. So now, Finland actually have a chance to set up here. Earlier on, Australia managed to sort of catch them off guard. Some of the Finnish side were almost looking like they wanted to try and defend the first point. But now, this is where it gets scary for the Aussies. Finland are well and truly set up here. They've got good positions. Taimu, this is a bit of a variation on a theme. He's going to go up on the higher ground, but if Australia push through from here, and Taimu's expecting this, a Winston lineup will always push from the right-hand side. And look at that, it's going to be carnage. Taimu drops down, 2 quick kills, and now there'll be more to follow.
Spin to win, that's the name of the game for Taimu. Drops down, gets himself a quick double, and Australia forced to back away, but Finland not being merciful today. He's going to force them away. The hook comes in on Kura. He gets dropped as well, and they are just going to back away. 30 eliminations for Taimu, 8,000 damage done. Massive kills. 30 to 1, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my word, it is.
It's right.
It's right.
This is so smart, by the way. Taimu knows that Australia's going to switch back to a Reinhardt comp, which means that instead of pushing the right side, they're going to push down the middle. And Taimu read that. He's actually now up above in the middle. Either he expected this to happen or it was a good guess. Either way, he's ready to receive. But again, Australia have tried to mix it up, go towards the right. This is to avoid the Reaper, but Taimu's always going to be there, and he finds Katie to start things off.
The flank around almost working out, but unfortunately Mafu had the Graviton Surge ready and waiting to go and just slaps it straight in the face. Kura gets chased down by Taimu, and Finland reset once again in the defense. Just under 3 minutes to go for Australia. Still plenty of time. No need to panic. They've got a good ulti resource build up here from Heikade, Yuki, Kura, and Musok. They're going to have themselves a very good position pushing in here. Finland themselves, you can see Taimu up on high, just about to get that Death Blossom popping in.
Yeah, okay, deal with the Reaper first. Otherwise, the counter engage is going to be devastating here from Finland. Taimu sees them. In fact, Australia sees him as well, but the Nanabu's going to come in towards Heikade. He's knocked down. The reaction coming out there as well. There was no protection. Refs wasn't able to protect Heikade because he already walked ahead of the shield. Now the sound barrier is going to come out for the Finnish side, but Australia have already lost their biggest weapons. Yuki trying to switch things back in their favour, but Refs has just fallen.
Heikade is back in action though. Can he get back around there in time? Kura gets executed by Taimu on the floor there. Musok, well, he's just going to stand still. That was just pure lack of communication. You saw refs come through the doorway, look up and say, there is a Reaper, there is Taimu, let's stop. But unfortunately, Kura had already used the nano boost, so suddenly Heikade is like, I need to go, I've got to go. This is our time, but just total miscommunication between Australia.
Also, I don't know if there was a speed boost from Musok there as well, because I think
just nudge him ahead of the shield.
Or a speed boost can help you dodge, because the closer you are to Reinhardt, the easier it is to dodge the Earth Shatter, because it comes out in a cone from the Reinhardt. So maybe a speed boost there, if it wasn't already there, might have helped Heikade, but I mean, it was a very slow advance there, very telegraphed.
Well, Graviton Surge is ready and waiting to go. They're just going to pop it straight in. 2 of them caught out, and that's enough to stop them. Taimu goes down. There's the Death Blossom, picks himself up a quick triple. Mafu says thank you very much. The beam in full effect, and Musok will get taken down. It's another team ace, and Australia wiped out once again. Just shy of a minute now left to go in this game. Finland, of course, they've got themselves a 6-minute, 8-second time bank. It is a massive stack for them. There's Taimu coming in, the Death Blossom. We've seen it over and over and over again in Overwatch in recent times.
Yeah, look, and you've got to push into chokes as the attacking team, right? So you need to sort of be proactive about expecting and dealing with that Reaper. But, I mean, Australia, their mental bandwidth right now is so taxed with just trying to play on Finland's level that they can't worry about that Reaper up above. They're just trying to get to the point. Even that's quite hard. So now they're going to the left side. They're mixing it up, and now it's going to be Heikade going in yet again. He's going to be spinning his way through, and he's knocked down. The Zarya shield got bursted. He had a shield, but the Earthshatter comes in, and Heikade's put on his rear end. Now forced to go in towards the Shadow Walk 4. He can't do damage at that state. Graviton comes in, though. Himsy going to get the whole hog, knocking him back.
Not enough damage to follow up. Unfortunately, you can see Red's trying to get in there. He's trying to get the hammer going. Refs can't manage to get the kills. Himsy flies in. He gets the hook down, slaps Kura on the backside and says thank you very much and good night, Australia. 15 seconds to go. It is all she wrote, and Finland are looking solid for a 2-0.
I mean, this is a clinic being put on by Finland in this map. Really can't argue with this. They use Taimu very, very well, but Taimu will not threaten enough as well. This is just to add insult to injury now. Those last few odds being used, and the Finnish squad look incredibly good following Temple of Anubis Lee. Hard to really count them out at this stage. The Australians, to be fair, I could see that they were thinking. They were able to read what Finland was doing, but reading and reacting are two very different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Route 66 will be the next map, of course, but unfortunately, it just wasn't to be for Australia. But themselves, they've had a good old time coming over here, Mitch. So let's see what they've been up to.
One of the things I love most about this team is that there are going to be a lot of teams that underrate them, that don't think they're going to be worth their salt at all. But for them, and as with all Australians, the most important part is having a good go, and most importantly, have fun.
I think most Australians, most of us here, we have the most fun. We're laughing, we're enjoying ourselves at every single opportunity.
I think Australian esports gamers are honestly some of the most passionate in the entire world. If we want to compete at a LAN, that often means driving halfway across an entire continent to get to, or if it's coming to an international tournament, that means flying literally halfway across the world just to compete for a few games.
You drive 2 hours down the road, or 6 hours for some people, coming from middle of nowhere to play at a LAN where everyone is together. It's so hot, there's no air conditioning. Really a terrible experience, but the atmosphere is what makes it.
There are going to be a lot of teams that underrate them, that don't think they're going to be worth their salt at all. But there's an incredible amount of freedom that being an underdog gives you.
Being a favourite means you have to prove yourself. Even though there's a lot of added pressure on us, we also sort of have nothing to lose. We had a good time, maybe we turn some heads next time. Yeah, if we win, it's the greatest thing ever, and you'll be hearing us from back home.
I think for us to be proud of our performance in the World Cup, we just have to be able to say that we really went out there and put in our absolute best effort on the world stage. And if we can go out there, really put up a proper fight and show that Australia can compete at that top level, I think we're all going to be really happy with what we've done here.
Yeah, and I think that's really the spirit of it overall. You obviously spent a number of times with these guys. A good old chat with Hey Katie there, we saw giving the interview. What is the general feel? I mean, obviously this is the story of Australia, really. You guys, it is a tough old task to get out of Australia in esports.
I think that interview as well encapsulated so many of the reasons why I'm proud personally to be Australian. Like, all these guys knew it's a huge undertaking to come here as well, and I don't know what drives us, and he's exactly right. Hearing Hey Katie talk about the trips you used to take, 10 hours I drove from Adelaide to Melbourne to play at a LAN back when I was playing a game when I was a lot younger, and these are the things we do gladly. These are the things we do, the chance to catch up with our mates and play some games. It's just so important to us. So we love what we do, and obviously these guys do too. It's just, I'm proud of them. I really am to see them here. They're definitely up against some stiff competition in Finland, but you can see them. They are enjoying themselves. Even though these games are tough, they're just happy to be here, and I appreciate that. And really, in Finland, again, gonna have to respect them. I think they have, though. Credit to the Finland side. They haven't been cocky, overconfident. I do think that they've, been prepared for Australia, and they have shown why they are the better team so far.
Yeah, a bit of dedication and work rate required for the Aussies, and that's what they're going to need here on Eichenwald. So, Finland on the defense to begin with. We're going to be seeing Taimu on the mate. It is something we've seen a number of players using, of course, throughout the last few months. Rose to dominance effectively, but we're seeing Yuki do the same on the attack, so we'll see how it works out. Almost identical teams, the difference being Himsy, of course, stayed in on the hop.
Yep, as we should expect, he is just one of the best, a bit of a specialist at the Roadhog. Oh. His performance in the last game also showed us why. He was equal in damage with Timon. We saw what Timon was doing to people, right? Himsy was right there with him getting it done, just chipping away at Australia and making it very hard for them to catch a break. So, obviously now with Finland defending here, Taimu is going to be able to set up here. He can throw a wall down and isolate a few stragglers from Australia, or too many people that get ahead of themselves. That's where that wall's going to be really important here. On the Australian side of things, obviously they're also going to be working with the main Reaper, so ultimately they're going to want to bust their way through. It's going to be a brute force approach eventually. A Sleep Dart could be all they need to start this fight up.
Oh, but the hook goes out. Refs gets slapped in the face with that one. Himsy doesn't need to hook him in when the damage has already been done, and you can see that ice wall just separating the team. Anyone who's in between it is going to be in trouble. There's another hook going through, and decimation for Finland. Unfortunately, Australia forced to back away, and this is one of the top holes. We haven't actually seen too many teams getting stuck on this initial bridge, but it is a really tough task. A lot of people that played, obviously, in ranked in solo queue probably have got caught in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to use a solo queue mentality, for example, it's a nano boost to a Reinhardt. That's the simplest way to get through this point. Now, refs regardless, even if he does die on a push like that one, we'll probably have an Earth Shatter available, but that's what needs to happen. Needs to be a charge in. No Nano Boost Fall coming just yet. Reps is going to go in, gets taken down, and Graviton Surge comes in. He's actually still alive, but Australia, it's a mere stay of execution lead. They are going to be picked up now as that Graviton does encircle.
Yeah, Heikedi just gets taken down, and Kura, the last man standing, will fall. So Australia reset their positions. 2 minutes to go. Need to gather themselves up, gather their forces. Now, are they going to sit? Are they going to wait for Heikedi maybe to get their ulti? You can see it's up in 5 seconds. Refs is going to have his ulti up, so this is going to be a good attack. This is the time when Australia need to strike. They need to make it work. But Finland are about ready to defend as well.
Australia are playing for the ult bank. That's the whole reason why they started those last 2 fights and went in. They wanted to try and charge up here. This main wall could be quite nasty as the whole hog was coming out there. It did take Turmo low, but not enough to take him down. Blizzard going to come in here. Earth Shatter as well. Now Finland are starting to flex their muscles a little bit more, and it seems it's more than Australia can handle right now. A decent Graviton Surge from Turmo, but where the heck was the rest of the Aussie squad? Refs finds Linksa, will be taken down by the shrapnel to the face from Himsy. And a Graviton with 4 people in it doesn't mean anything if there's no one following up with damage. Australia got completely segmented and cut out of that fight by the Blizzards.
Yeah, the double Blizzard, in fact. Blizzards everywhere at the moment. Graviton Surge being used. But Heikedi has his Death Blossom still available, as does Refs. So he might be able to get pushed in with a sound barrier attack here. Heikedi's trying to build them up. They are stacked up pretty heavily. That's going to be a juicy target. You can see they're baiting it out. Heikedi's like, I want to go. Where's my boost? I'm going to get it around the side. Is he going to pull the trigger? He's going to keep the left click going. Now he's going to find a couple of them on the ground. Will finally get himself the copter off the ground, and Yuki comes in. He picks himself up a couple of kills, and it looks like the Aussies may well have just captured the point.
Their way through. Yuki with 2 important kills at the back, and Zappos has got nowhere to go right now. Himsy's throwing himself at the point, but no chance to get the whole hole going. Australia, patience pays dividends in the game of Overwatch, and they wait for the big ult bank, then they let it rip right into Finland's face, and it gets them the first point.
So where can they go from here? 3 minutes on the clock, moving into a very tough section. Honestly, you could say the whole thing about the whole map. It is a tough old map. This is probably one of the most challenging out there. Obviously, being the newer map, a lot of teams have still yet to completely unlock any strategy, but it's been around for a while. No one's new to this, and Taimu got himself positioned.
Yeah, I love his position.
Down, yeah.
But it's just interesting where he's set up towards the left side now. I mean, it's going to be ice spikes. He can throw a wall in from here as well. Maybe didn't want to fall down, but regardless, he'd like to charge himself up another Blizzard here. He'll have it after this fight. So Graviton comes in. With the wall coming up, it means that Finland can only access a couple of those Australian players. Look, the Blizzard comes out in response. It has backfired indeed. The wall maybe not ideal from Taimu in Australia. Able to use that advantage. The fact that they were out of harm's way at the start of that fight, they respond 5-fold. They get themselves a few kills over this fight. They will be advancing further down the Eichenwald path.
The wall came in, but the wall and the biotic grenade managed to get through. The shield, sorry, and the biotic grenade managed to get through before the damage came through. So it was Turmo they were singling out to try and be the target. Kuro and Turmo and Yuki, actually. So obviously he got a shield and an ice block. They both got their own defensive forms, and it just backfired horribly by Finland there. So Australia given a bit of free form, and now they're going to get caught in the Graviton Surge of their own. There's the biotic grenade going down, but not a great deal of damage to follow it up, unfortunately, and it will be the Finns that will come out on top.
Yeah, Australia were just met by Finland up on the top there. I'm not sure if they expected that one. Clever by Muselk there as well. Going to make his way through. Himsy going to make sure he gets himself a little bit more of that ultimate charge, not allowing Muselk to drop himself off. So, that was a Graviton Surge used by Turmo there, and yeah, not a lot of follow-up, I'll be honest with you. The Blizzard pretty much made it impossible for Australia to do anything else with what they had there. They were all clumped together. Fairly straightforward. Of course, the biotic grenade on top of the Aussies meant that there was nothing that Muselk or Kura could really do to keep them alive. Graviton, Earth Shatter being used on the low ground, so excuse me. He's going to go back in now as well. Looking for Muselk, and he'll get him now with a left click to the dome. And it should be an easy one fight for Finland after the fact there. Heikedi is already out of the picture, and Refs also follows.
Well, this is solid stuff so far from Finland. Just a minute to go for Australia. Now, they managed to break the deadlock, getting the payload moving, but can they reach that second point? They've reached the situation where, pretty much where Chinese Taipei reached against Korea in a moment ago. Just a little shy of it, and I don't think it's a goal that Finland are going to struggle to reach, unfortunately. So they need to go a little harder than this. The Blizzard comes out, they managed to catch a couple of people, but Taimu is off the side. Himsy pulls out the hook. Turmo gets himself one, but it's just all there is as Himsy blasts him with the whole hog.
Nothing you can do about that. Turmo just being forced right on back, and he's lacking teammates as well. He knows his goose is cooked, and he's going to head over the edge there. Australia have one more push left to go. They have a Primal Rage. They have themselves the Nano Boost as well. They've got a bit to work with here, but it's truly his last chance. So saloon. And the tricky part is that Finland are holding so far forward of the payload, or at least they were, that the Australians, even if they beat them here, they still need to run up to the payload and get that overtime going. Lee, they're not even going to get that far. Mafu comes in, it's going to be the Graviton Surge, and now they're going to clean up the rest of the Aussies here. You can see the Raptors desperately trying to stay alive. The prime range is to keep this one ticking along.
Trying to keep it on the payload, trying to keep the overtime from falling out. He's got the help of a Genji as well, but Yuki's just struggling to keep alive, and you can see Musso comes in. He gets the sound barrier down, but it's no follow-up from him, unfortunately. It's a 3v6 situation. Hey, Katie comes in, tries to get the Death Blossom off the ground, but it's just not to be. It is the Finns that will hold strong here on Eichenwald, and now it is their turn to attack. It's not a great distance, in all honesty, from Australia, and it is one you would assume Finland could reach with ease.
Yeah, definitely difficult for Australia there to, you know, have peace of mind going onto the defensive side. Credit to them though, they broke their first point hold for the Finnish squad. It was maybe a couple mistakes here and there, but the Australian squad were patient. They invested a lot of time into making sure they had a good bank of ultimates. It's not necessarily the most efficient way to play Overwatch, just by throwing 5 or 6 ultimates in the enemy's face. But if you feel like you're not getting the job done with, you know, 2 or 3, you might need to go a little bit further.
So that's actually twice. I mean, there's Himsy. We've seen obviously his whole hog is 52% weapon accuracy. Now, is that the hook?
No, it's his shotgun.
That's not the hook. That's
it's
the
about
shotgun, yeah.
46% hook accuracy there as well.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a lot better on Temple of Anubis when we noted it at 80% after the first half here. But still, that's very good. There have been a lot of these hooks from Himsy, and his damage is pretty much only second to Mafu in that round. Mafu and Himsy, the two tank players there, the two NIP representatives, were definitely the biggest and hardest hitters in that half.
Something we've seen from Finland, and something that a lot of teams may take note of, is that's twice they've been caught out in a full team fight. Brazil did the same, and Australia have caught them, and twice it's nearly cost them. Obviously, we saw them getting caught. Both times, it's when they've gone aggressive. Both times, it's when they've gone on the attack, and it's kind of backfired on them. So maybe a little few missed calls. It can go wrong for you sometimes, but obviously they managed to regroup this time and make it work for them. So Finland are going to be in the attack.
Oh, is that my boy Elliot with the moves? Let's go.
So, yeah. Also, actually, the entertainer in the group, not the pro player.
Yeah, he's a content producer. I mean, to be fair, he does play a lot of Overwatch. I think he just recently hit that 3,500 mark in competitive, and he's been gaming for a long, long time. So, but he's always saying, I don't want to be a liability, I don't want to be a liability. But sometimes, honestly, he's a boon to Australia. He's learned a heck of a lot over the last week or so. But that may not be enough here as Finland looking hungry, out for blood. 94.56 meters is their task after catching this first point, and they're wasting no time and aggressively position themselves here in the underpass.
A very different defensive setup from Australia, isn't it? You can see Finland, they were very aggressive, sitting out that bridge. They've already allowed Finland to come around this corner and almost at the payload marker. They're going to try and get the flank around now. They're going to try and go aggressive. Reps managed to get in on Zappis. Mafu forced away. You can see Taimu sitting passively right from range, but the rest of his team are falling. He's going to throw out that flashbang, but to no avail. Tries to get himself the shot on Takura. Playing the Mercy, by the way, something we saw them doing yesterday, but unfortunately, he is the last man standing, and the rest of his team are wiped out.
And the Australians seemed happy enough for Finland just to creep ever closer. Once they managed to squeeze Heikadi in towards the back, and a quick pick-off, of course, over on Zappis, they were able to win that fight up fairly confidently. Now, Kura has himself a Resurrect available here, so even if things go wrong for Australia, there might be a get-out-of-jail-free card in the form of that ultimate. Yuki also on that Pharah now. Not a lot on Finland to challenge him. They've got Taimu, I guess. He needs to be careful of those hooks. So, you know, Yuki needs to play a little bit more passively. That's a great charge. So Linksa does catch refs, but he has his eye shield. The fight will continue over the point as refs falls to Taimu.
Getting straight around the side, and unfortunately it's Australia that are falling. The payload may well be unlocked already. The Resurrect comes through. Is it enough to get the back up? No, because the Earth Shatter instantly comes out from Linksa, slaps them back on the ground, swings through with the hammer, and Hey Katie doing what he can. He's in the Wraith form, but instantly comes a flashbang to the face from Taimu, and that will be the point captured by Finland.
And this is one of the reasons why we don't see a heck of a lot of Mercy anymore these days, is because she was actually tweaked so that people who get resurrected can act a little bit quicker, so the animation takes less long to resolve. The issue is that, and this is just an intrinsic problem with Resurrect, is that you know where the resurrected people are going to be. You just queue up a Earth Shatter or some other AoE or ult, and you'll be able to catch them, and there'll be no chance for the resurrected team to respond.
The Taimu flank. He's creeping around the side. Are they aware? No, they're not. He gets Kura in the headshot. Thank you very much. Good night. Takes down straight away. So the little flankaroo working out well there. Now we're seeing Zappit in sniper mode, starting to get a little damage down. This is where the Ana players have the most fun, but there's going to be Turbo dropping down. Graviton Surge on the point. Is it going to be enough? The damage comes through. Hey, Katie gets himself one, and Yuko finishes off, but it's still not enough damage. You can see the Finns. They've got the shields. They've got the tankiness, and they're just keeping them at bay, even in a 3v4.
Tema now being caught in the Graviton as well as moves up. Not much you can do about that. And there's the Earth Shatter. Perfect stuff by Linkser. He gets 2 kills and then catches 2 more players in the Earth Shatter. I've got to say, for a player who doesn't play a lot of Reinhardt, Linkser has been improving so much over this week. I mean, ultimately, you've got a pro player mentality, the mentality of champions there. So this payload's getting very close. Australia might not even be able to get their lead.
No, it doesn't look like it. They're going to try and rush out here. I think we may even need a charge from Refs. They're going to make it. No, he doesn't even get there in time. Gets met by Linkser head on the charge into each other, and Finland will take it in a quick 2-0. They're going to be joining South Korea at the top of the table, and what a juicy fixture that will be tomorrow.
Finland definitely not looking quite as challenged as they were yesterday against Chinese Taipei, although we did see some good things from Australia and some of their individuals there as well. I think Hey Katie on that Reaper managed to open up a lot of opportunities, and Termo, who is a student of Zaya, definitely showed us some good moments there. It all kind of unraveled though when we saw Kura get headshotted there by Time and went down. They needed that mercy on that last fight.
Well, spirits are high for Australia, but that is about all they're going to have, I'm afraid. Finland are the victors. Let's get over to Rachel and the guys.
Thank you, D-Man. Thank you, Uber. Another quick match today. Man, they have gone really, really fast, but Finland doing an amazing job here against Australia.
So yeah, it was tough for Australia. It was rough. And for Finland, though, let's celebrate the good. They had the terrible, just devastating duo of Himzi and Taimu, who you look at back in the first map, they did not die, and they just went huge.
That's right. We had a lot of great play from Finland, actually. We saw some solid May. They had their 4 tanks out for a little bit. What did you notice, Reinforce?
Yeah, it's so hard playing versus this Finland team because they just dictate control so well. I have a replay for this, just specifically on Eichenwald. We can play that, where they play with the May. And we see here that Australia tries to initiate the fight, but then Finland counterwalls here, and they just dictate. When they want to fight, they fight. And we're going to see them get a few picks here. Time gets Hey KD, and then Himsi get a pick, and then they just wall up with them again, and they just back up, and they're happy with this. And they just dictate the pace of the games so much, and it's so hard to go up against this Finland team.
And I feel like even when Australia came into some of these fights with the ult advantage, they still were just not able to win them. I think Finland was just so strong on the defensive end.
Yeah, this is something we saw South Korea do a lot. Just stall for time. Anytime there was an opportunity to shave 20, 30 seconds off the opponent's clock, they went for it.
And a key thing about that, too, even looking back at that last replay, is that Australia, when they went in, how they went in was not really all at the same time. They sort of dripped and drabbed into the fight, and as a result, you gave opportunities for Himsi to punish with the hook, for Taimu to either drop down as a Reaper or just split them off as May, and overall, it wasn't the best look.
Absolutely. And actually, we have a couple replays queued up just to take us through the matches one more time, because there's a couple moments here we missed. But Himsi, gosh, what's really got to hurt for Australia, Roadhog is part of the Australian Liberation Front, and he did nothing to forward that cause here by absolutely destroying Australia with Himsi.
Oh, that's true. I mean, he probably pushed it a little bit further back. Did not favor it all.
They are not liberated.
Taimu was absolutely silly on this map. That's a huge rush from Linkser. He seems to be coming. He seems to be coming into his own on Reinhardt a little bit.
We question him, or at least I question him as Reinhardt. You know, as the Reinhardt main, but he's been doing good in both these matchups, both yesterday and today. I mean, he's showing that he's been working on this, and he's really serious about his Reinhardt play.
I think Linkser has just been leveling up over the course of this, where it's not something he's played too much with his team in normal competition, but here in this exhibition, he's really made it his own.
So who have been our biggest damage dealers on both teams? I mean, we kept a close eye on Australia here to see who was our standout, but really Finland just took the show.
Yeah, they took the show, and as we saw from those clips, Himsi and Taimu were there. They weren't getting neutralized, and you take a look at Australia and what they were doing. Hey Katie did have some good moments here, did have a Death Blossom that set up Yuki for 2 kills, and was doing a pretty big percentage of damage for the Australian team, but they just weren't able to neutralize key players on Finland anywhere near as often as they needed to.
Yeah, it seemed like Australia was able to put together like one really good push, obviously get the payload, but after that, I mean, it was really nothing. But I do want to say, I think Hey Katie definitely a standout player for Australia.
That guy, was it that one?
Well, the funny thing is that Musa was actually falling to his death to begin with, but Himsi was having none of it. Himsi, free hugs for everyone.
Yeah. Really considerate there. Great play by Finland. Australia still have a lot of work to do, but individually, definitely some of the players, they shined. It looked good.
Yeah, they're starting to put it together.
Yeah.
They got one more match left.
You got it, Australia.
Maybe they can grab a win.
Australia's going to turn it around the next one. I got Australia.
For me, I just think maybe the meme straps will come in the next matchup, even if they didn't come in this one.
All right, you did promise me meme strats. I can't wait to see them. Maybe tomorrow. But for now, we have another match coming up today. It's going to be China and Singapore. So guys, stay in your seats. We'll have that very, very soon.